Well, you guys have probably noticed that I was out of town last week. Everything was a little bit topsy-turvy, and that remains the case because we are going to do the Wednesday walkabout today, and today is Tuesday. You will be seeing it this evening. Why? Because tomorrow I'm going to give you the promised tour of my sister's home as kind of, segmented as it was, partly because I wanted to enjoy my family while I was there, and it was just a little bit, again, kind of chaotic and a little bit topsy-turvy, but that's life. So we're just going to roll with it. So speaking of rolling with it, Stuart, should we get on a roll and do this Wednesday walkabout?
Indeed.
Okay, let's do it. Well, this is going to be kind of a fun walkabout because you are going to experience the cottage garden just as I am. And we've got a steak burger receipt blowing down the path. So I'll do a little delittering while I am doing a walkabout. But I thought it would be kind of fun for you to see the things that I look for when I come back for a trip. So you are experiencing it with me firsthand. We got home yesterday evening. It was after dark, so I really didn't, I tried to look and see what I could after nightfall, but there wasn't much visibility. So you can see this morning that while I was gone, like magic, the violas and the violas and the pansies appeared. Thank you, Kayla, for doing that while I was gone. They look great. I did a combination of white, both white violas and white pansies, no eye, or no blotch. And then I also wanted to do some of the kind of lavender violas, both kind of bicolored, and some of them are solid. But all of it will very much have a tone-on-tone with some contrast appeal to it, I think. And it will communicate from a distance, so when you are coming down the street, you'll be able to see it. That's what the pops of white will do, as my white lantana did, as the white roses up there are doing for you right now. They travel visually further, and so that's what's going to happen. Now, no tulips have been planted, and typically this is the time of year that I plant them. I received them yesterday, and I'll show you where I've got them stored in my garage, but we're going to hold off, and for the first time in a very, very long time, no tulips are going to be planted until after Thanksgiving. Why? Because it is just so warm. I can't believe it is still so warm. Even the nighttime temperatures are warm. It was warm when I was in Indiana, not as warm as here, but nevertheless, I'm taking that into consideration because I want the ground to cool down a little bit more. And as if on cue, a John Deere tractor is getting ready to do its stuff. I'm also going to do just a little bit of tidying up. These dead iris fronds, iris leaves, were wonderful, kind of simulating the look of corn stalks in my garden, and I was using them underneath the pumpkins. Some of them have blown about, and I'll come back and clean those up, and I see just a little bit of henbit and some things that have germinated, and I'll take care of that. One thing I've also noticed is probably because it has been so dry and so warm, and yet we had a hard freeze, that I've got a little bit now of winter or frost damage that was then baked by the sun, as this is south exposure, on some of my boxwoods. This was tender new growth, and it kind of succumbed. Nothing that I'm overly concerned about, and something that will be pruned off next spring so that it will flush out and be beautiful. And it didn't seem to make a difference what variety it was. This, I think, was that's a green mound. This one may have, or that's a green mountain. This one may have been a green mound. A lot of them, if they had just the right exposure, were a little bit nipped. If you're experiencing the same thing, don't worry about it. That's my question of the day, though. Have temperatures in your area been just kind of exceptionally warm, and there's been this weird combination of, yes, we'll get a freeze, but then all of a sudden it will be like 70 degrees the next day. Okay, here's another example of those iris leaves that had dried and just, I think, look kind of mimic corn stalks. So I like the way they look underneath the pumpkins. So here's the tip that you might want to use if you are in an area like mine that is warm enough that you'll get consistent bloom out of your pansies over the fall and winter, and sometimes then into the dead of winter after the calendar turns to 2024. And that is, periodically I'll come out here and I will just deadhead things. And that will produce new bloom. Once it gets cold, I don't worry about this so much. I'll just wait and resume my deadheading in the spring when I begin to feed all of these cool weather annuals and they really begin to think about putting on a spring show. So many of you have asked about this ferny, delicate chartreuse plant, and this is golden feverfew. I start it from seed. The seed can be kind of hard to find, and what I will do is scatter even more of that seed around after the tulips are in place, after the tulips are planted, and I identify areas where I want some of this to germinate so that it will be part of the spring show, part of the supporting cast for the tulips. It looks beautiful. I love this. It looks beautiful, I think, with anything that's lavender or purple. And that kind of reminds me that on Friday, I think Friday, I'm going to do a radio show where we talk about the beauty and the contribution that things that have chartreuse foliage really bring to the garden. And I think it will be fun to identify some of those plants on that radio show, and I will let you guys, I'll give you a heads up when that's going to be on. Something else that I have noticed is that all of the candy butterflies, some of the blooms were still intact before I left, but seed? No, this isn't seed. These are just dried flower heads, and these did succumb to a frost. Am I going to remove them? No, I'm just going to leave them in place. I kind of like the way they look. They'll be pretty if it does snow and snow falls on them. So I'm just going to leave them there. Yeah, the other thing is it kind of protects the plants from extreme cold and shelters things that might be underneath it, any little seedlings and such. Something else that's a very happy surprise. I showed you, I think it was in last Sunday's video, how I used my Works mulcher to mulch up and shred some leaves that I then wanted to mix with some of the Happy Grow or Fine Pine blend that I get at Lowe's. So many of you have asked about that. Where do I get the Happy Grow mix? I get it at Lowe's. What is something similar? Any kind of fine pine mulch that you can find anywhere. So while I was gone, very surprisingly and very happily, because I was going to do it myself, I see that Kayla went ahead and spread a bunch of that over the bare areas on the upper terrace, and I love that she went ahead and did that. Now I don't have to do it, and it will ultimately break down and it will improve and enhance the quality of the soil. Now what I am concerned about is that I guess we didn't get any rain while I was gone, Stuart. Oh, no. It continues to be very dry. Now, as if on cue, I'm going to have a little get-together in my backyard for some of the gals in the neighborhood on Sunday, and that's when we have our first chance of rain. But I'll take it. I will take rain even on a day that I'm going to have a little get-together because we so desperately need it. Look at how these roses, these kind of carpet roses, are still pumping out blooms. I love it. You may recall that I planted one on this side to mimic the one on the other side. All of the agapanthus foliage is still doing great. But look here, I see signs of not only some weed seedlings, but I also see some germination of some other kinds of seedlings. I believe that's a larkspur if.
Such a neat skill to be able to
To be
see
able
that
to,
at
it
this
really
point.
is, and it's something that I encourage all of us to kind of hone. I'm looking in here, and I can see that the pentas. Stuart, do you see the dead blobs in the front, right along the brick, right here? Okay, that's the pentas that got nipped, but look, they're still kind of green below.
They are.
So they weren't. It wasn't a hard freeze.
They're making this guy shine.
Yes, making that guy, the contrast is beautiful. And then right at your feet, Stuart, is more of that golden feverfew, and how beautiful that will look in the spring.
It's like a light bulb.
Now, ultimately, it does put out a little daisy flower, which then dries and goes to seed, and that's how I keep it reproducing in my garden. Here is some Minoan lace that has already grown up. It will definitely be mature and ready to bloom next year. And then I have described kind of ad nauseum where I'll be planting the tulips that will go in, and obviously I will share with you that tulip planting process. But things are looking pretty good. There's a little bit of debris that normally I pick up every day that I'll just have to get back into my schedule.
Surprised you're not still finding candy.
I'm not, well, I probably will still continue to find some candy wrappers. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Look at the beautiful azaleas on this azalea topiary. And by the way, these are available for sale, I believe, and I will see if I can get you a link. These are Encore azaleas.
You can buy them like this?
Yes, you can buy them like that. And if I can't find it now, I'll definitely find it for you in the spring. One, definitely when they were in the back, had better exposure than the other one, so it's larger. Hopefully that one will catch up with some feeding next spring, feeding and watering. And it looks like I need to mulch it too because some of the roots are exposed. I'm really not going to be doing much cutting back of anything. If it's browned, if there are brown flowers on it, I'm really not going to be doing much of that, with the exception of when I get ready to really aggressively pull out all the rest of the annuals, the lantana and things, which still are kind of going strong. Okay, this is another little happy surprise, because Kayla surrounded some of my pots with pansies and violas. That's very much something that I would do, and she did that for me. Look at how big this foxglove has gotten.
Oh, wow.
It has gotten huge, and all of those by the stepping stones.
Didn't we just shoot
Yeah,
that? Really recently?
Yeah, well, some of these here, Stuart, see along the edge. Tell me if you guys out there in YouTube land noticed. Look at all of the foxglove that are there. They will continue to put out root growth over the winter, and then, boy, they should also be really large next spring. And some of those that I planted out here that we transplanted out of a pot where they kind of were in storage, those have been planted out, and now they're not complaining anymore. So they apparently have enough of a root structure now so that it enables them to keep the leaves strong and turgid, and they're not floppy anymore. So that will be my foxglove walkway up these little stepping stones to the bird bath. And yes, I do need to clean it out. It's interesting to me that a lot of the trees still have their leaves around here. A lot of them still have to fall. In fact, look, Stuart, if you can just slowly rotate to that October glory that I planted in the corner there, it hasn't in any way even turned color. And the leaves are still green. It's still pretty green. So I guess it's just a different kind of year. The redbud trees are losing their leaves, and that's fine, and I cannot wait for them to put on growth and begin to undulate and cascade. Look over here, Stuart. This is fun. Look at these Encore azaleas. Yeah. Look at how gorgeous they are. And this, I mean, truly, truly, they are reblooming. I really love that pink, and I love that combination, and think how gorgeous that's going to be when those are in bloom with all of my tulips that will have a lot of pink kind of on the pink spectrum, and I think that'll be just really, really beautiful.
So nice, they bloom twice. What was
So,
it?
yeah, that's what you said. So nice, they bloom twice. You could coin that as a little jingle. I do think I'm actually going to have to water some of my potted plantings, and then of course Lemon Lane looks very, very dear, and it's now been accompanied with more of the chartreuse, gold foxglove, and some or chartreuse feverview, and some foxglove that we planted along the way. And over here, Stuart, look, because I don't want to ignore the little darlings. These are the reasons that you have to do your walkabouts. Because look over here, I apparently had seeded some larkspur, which will bloom in blue, lavender blue, and look at some of it has germinated. And that will definitely overwinter, and that will bloom on Lemon Lane. And I love, that might be one of my favorite color combinations, is that lavender and chartreuse. Love, love, love it. It is the perfect kind of day. It is a perfect fall day, and I am adoring it. Everything over here just looks pretty good now. Is there are some of the leaves looking a little bit tattered? Yeah, because that's what they're supposed to do. That's in their job description. Oh, one thing I did want to tell you guys about. I was such a huge fan of these Cranberry Creek boxwoods that I told you about, and when they started selling them, they're actually through Amazon, and when they started selling them, I think they started out to be like around $50, I could be wrong, and then they went up to like $64, and now they are at $69, which for a topiary boxwood is higher than it was, but is still a really good price for specimens that look like this. And I only had one die. One of the very few casualties of any plants that I had this year. One succumbed here on the corner. I think that was my fault because I think I blocked the sprinkler head. And so I bought another one. Yes, you can plant these right now in the fall. Actually, fall here in Oklahoma is the best planting time. So I'm going to replace that one there, and it will just be prominent in the Boxwood Village that is made up of largely Renaissance better boxwoods that I can't wait to show you next year when they have grown up a little bit more. Very new on the horizon. Better boxwood because it's blight resistant and has much to commend it. I'm starting to see over here, and by the way, these are things that I will write down in my garden journal, which, ta-da, comes out today. I've been so busy. Yes, it comes out today. I am so thrilled, and I've been filling mine out. And if you haven't bought one, Stuart, we need to put a little link right here. We will be giving one away, and so many of you have commented that you really like that little ivy printer that I showed you, because that's how I'm documenting a lot of things in my garden journal. But I digress. One of the things that I will note in my garden journal is for the first time on my brand new Nellie Stevens hollies, I am seeing berries. Can you see berries on them in the distance, Stuart?
Probably on a TV screen. I can't see them on here.
Okay, because it's a little bit bright, but I spy some red berries.
I can see them.
I spy some red berries, and I'm going to come over here. Here's a little bit more deadheading to do on the pansies. I just find that very, very satisfying to deadhead things.
You say you're a grateful deadheader?
I'm a grateful deadheader. Yes, that's very close. Stuart, you're just on it today. You are just on it today.
That was super, all kinds of double meanings.
Double meanings. That really makes you giggle. So many of you comment on Stuart's giggling. Some people absolutely adore it. Some people find it annoying. Just the way they find the way I pronounce things kind of annoying sometimes. But you know what?
Hey, they're watching us.
Hey, that's just how it is. We ain't perfect and don't claim to be. Look at the berries on here on the Yopon hollies. I did not expect that this year. And aren't those wonderful?
The color pop.
And then see how she's put down all of that leaf mulch in here. And I really like the way it looks.
It
now that it's
the canvas.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it makes the contrast, I think,
Yeah.
that much better, and it makes things like that
warms it.
sunshine ligustrum, however you pronounce it, really, really pop. Now, over here, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in here. Obviously, I still haven't pulled out any of this stuff because it still hasn't died, and I'll probably wait until, I think I mentioned this before, I'll wait till we plant some tulips, till we start to plant our tulips, which will be after Thanksgiving, but I'm thinking before the home tour. And yes, by then I'll be able, because it's hard for me to reach over there right now, I'll clean those windows and everything, because I want to make sure that everything is spick and span for the Mess Apart Christmas Home Tour, which is December 2nd and 3rd. And if you check it out on Instagram in my stories, there'll be a link where you can buy tickets if you want to come to town for it. It's going to be fun. I think there's 4 or 5 houses in my neighborhood, all within walking distance. So it should be fun, and you can get a little idea of what the cottage on the hill will look like, all decked out for the holidays. So I'll pull this out, and I'll probably start tossing some of the pumpkins that have been here for a long time. Normally they would last a little bit longer, but because it's been so hot and they get that searing sun with no shade, some of them have blistered, and I'll probably just compost them. So Stuart, can we just do a little pan? Is there anything I have apparently really forgotten about as I've done just this little walkabout? I know it may seem redundant, but it's important redundancy, because these are the things that if you are an obsessed gardener like myself, that we do with great regularity to identify problems early on, both problems and opportunities. So that is why we walk about. Is it not, Stuart? Okay, let's run to the back, see what's going on back there on this Wednesday walkabout on Tuesday. And then tomorrow there will be a very special edition on Wednesday that a garden life that we postponed from Sunday, because I wanted to share it with you and introduce you to some of my family members, most of them Hoosiers. So Stuart, what do you say? Let's take a break here and go to the back. Okay, this is a special outfit of the day with a huge thank you to Pat, who is Kayla's business partner.
I knew I liked the shirt.
You knew you liked the shirt. Okay, if this shirt looks familiar to you, it's because it's the one that I complimented Kayla on, and kiddingly said, "Oh, Pat, now you need to get me one too." And be darned if she didn't get me one too, and I absolutely love it. Thank you, Pat. It's so fun. It's very, very comfortable, and I love the color. And I've just got it paired, very casual, with some Athleta leggings and some Hunter boots, and I don't know, just some fun earrings. It's all casual. It's all just Wednesday walkabout attire. My Wednesday walkabout wardrobe. There you go, my outfit du jour. Well, Dot is so happy to be in my clean and organized garage. It still has a little fine tuning to be done, but nevertheless, it is a drastic improvement. It also gave me room to store my color blends tulips, which arrived, I believe, just yesterday. And if yours are going to be in storage for any length of time before you get them in the ground, just keep them in a cool, dark place that is dry, and they should be fine. And these will just reside in here until I get ready to plant them. I want to show you something over here on the workbench though, Stuart. Some of you guys might recognize this Goodwill find. And I decided to just paint it a matte black, and you will probably see it somehow resurrected on the Christmas tour. And by the way, hello to Lori. I was in the Goodwill in Zionsville, and someone approached me and asked me if I was Linda Vaughter. And Lori, it was just so fun to run into you. I'm always, when I go out of town and someone recognizes me, that's always a pleasant surprise. So I hope you got some good deals. I got a few, which I'll be sharing later. So back here, there is progress remaining, progress going on. So you can see that the posts are in place. And I happen to know because I talked to Kayla this morning, who is the best, and she is painting the panels for these right now. They will come and paint these posts here pretty soon. And Kayla has promised me that this stuff will be finished by Thanksgiving. I kind of think it will still be a little bit too cool to dine out here, but we'll see. We'll see. So I am so excited that that's going to be done. And then I have ordered more Soft Caress Mahonia and a few Obsession Nandina to kind of fill this out. And then we will mulch this all prettily and water everything in, and then it will look very, very tidy, and it will look more complete. I need to check. So many of you are still asking me, Linda, what about the railings? That's too treacherous. They have been ordered, and now I'm just like everybody else. I just have to wait. So hopefully they will get in before the time of year we potentially get ice and snow, and these might get slippery, and that would be in January. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, but that's on my list to find out about. Oh, here's something else that makes me happy. Look here. This happened while I was gone. This truly is the first time I've been out here since I got back, you guys. Look here. We've got... Yes, we've got the additional section. There might be another little piece that goes here so that the next time it rains, I will have water in my rain barrel. And I'll be very excited about that. That will be very fun. I do have some empty pots. There's a huge concrete pot that's in the front. You guys asked me, do I leave them out all year? And yes, the really large concrete and terracotta pots, I do leave out in the winter time. And over many years, they might eventually crack and succumb to the elements, but they're too heavy for me to put under cover, and I don't like to wrap them. That kind of hides their beauty. So, but a lot of the empty concrete pots and things that you see now, those will be filled with bulbs, and that will be fun. What else is going on here, Stuart? Oh my goodness, Stuart, look, you've been asking. Look here. Oh, this makes me happy. Look. We've got little flower heads on the potted peas, on the purple potted peas. Look there.
I came all the way over here.
You came all...
Eat a pea.
Eat a pea. No. Okay, first they flower, Stuart. First they flower, and then you get the peas. Yeah, and I think always driven by your appetites.
Hey, this is one of my favorite things.
But aren't they fun? And I think they might need a little bit of water. It's like I say, it's been so dry. Let's look over here. And yes, you guys have also noted that I'll probably add a few more stepping stones as I realize how I navigate the space. But that's easy peasy stuff. That's easy peasy stuff that I can add later. I see a little bit of henbit, and I'll go ahead and pull that. My carrots, they don't look like they have grown much. Again, maybe if we would just get a good rain. We just need a good rain. And I think that's what is needed over here now in the greens that I broadcast. Kind of a mesclun mix. The chard is growing. But all I need is really a good rain. And I think we've got more than enough warmth for this to persist and put on some more growth. I might even give that a gentle little feed after I look at the calendar to see if we've got any kind of frost on the horizon. So things out here are looking pretty good. I missed my fire pit, and I'll be anxious to sit out here. We might just have to do that this evening because there's no wind and it's beautiful. Some of you asked if I ever get weeds in this brick patio in between. And yes, look, there's a little bit of henbit there. So I can pull it. If there's a lot of it, I might just pour boiling water on it. But all of this other stuff, and by the way, I ordered more of this Dragon Prince Cryptomeria because I want to do some winter projects with Southern Living plants. So I have ordered some more of that. But look at how happy all of this stuff is. and think it will meet my vision that I put in my garden, the image that I put in my garden journal of all of this growing together. All of this growing together. And look, the ajuga is very, very happy. Say hello, Hubs.
Hello.
Hello. Hubs made an appearance. Hubs, for the first time, kind of made an appearance in the family video. We are so happy to be back home. I really missed the cottage. I missed my garden. I missed you guys, missed talking to you guys. So we are back home again from Indiana, not back home again in Indiana, but from Indiana to Oklahoma. I am happy to be back. I learned a lot this week, a lot of which I'll be sharing with you, lots of lessons learned. And the most important thing maybe being there's no place like home. No place like home and no place like family. So yes, Stuart just clicked his heels. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Wednesday walkabout. Make sure, Wednesday walkabout on Tuesday, make sure to watch for tomorrow. Some reminders, if you haven't bought my garden journal, please do so. It means a lot to me. It also means a lot to me when you hit the like button, you subscribe, you share this content with others, and you comment below. So there you go. Wednesday walkabout on Tuesday. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.